Hello, it's me again. Hi. Welcome. What you doing? What's going on? Are you ready for this show to be over? Good, cause me neither. Neither. Before I get into the rest of the video, I would just like to say a sincere thank you. This series has brought some movement to my channel. I've been doing this since June of 2018, and it's really nice to see growth, finally. So thank you so much to everyone who has liked, commented, subscribed. It means so much to me. And I would love to have you stay here even though the series is ending. Speaking of, this series is ending. This finale was perfect. And I not only say that from a fan's perspective, but from a critical perspective. This episode was wonderful. The screenwriting was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Almost every line had a role in advancing the story. It was perfectly witty. It perfectly balanced drama and camp. The messages and topics that this episode portrayed were very well dissected. This episode once again managed to make me happy and full, but not in a substanceless, forgettable type of way. This episode impacted me, I think more so than any of the other episodes. Let's once again dive into the characters and their stories in this episode. Let's start with Elena. I loved it. They brought back the raisins. I was thinking about how this episode could go, and I was hoping, really hoping that they would bring back the raisin plot of episode 3. And they did, and in a much better fashion than I expected. If I'm being completely honest, I kind of just expected Elena to see a politician and for it to click, oh, I want to be the president. But no, this episode not only brought back the raisin aspect of episode 3, but it reiterated what episode 3 was about, executing good payoff through visual and implied storytelling, and reminded us that finding your true reason for being, it takes time and it takes effort, and there are many steps in that process. Whoa. Okay, hold on. I'm realizing more and more about this show the more I think about it, and the more I think about it, the more I love this show. I'm realizing that all the main characters had to learn something about a process. Bobby had to learn that realizing his sexuality is a process. Gabby had to realize that getting back into the dating game was a process. Sam had to realize that adjusting to life with kids is a process. And Elena had to realize that finding a reason for being was a process. This show is good, man. This show is good. Anyways, I love how that raisin plot was brought back into this episode, and I love how it was executed. We went from Elena seeing the senator and then meeting her in the bathroom and saying, I'm fighting for injustice. Wait, I'm fighting for injustice? No. It went from her meeting that senator in the bathroom to her mom mentioning, oh, next year you could be on school council, to her writing school council ? In her diary. That was all done visually and with implied storytelling, and I think that was wonderful. You know what else was done with visual storytelling that I absolutely adored? Bobby coming out to himself.
This is where the gay starts. Homophobes, you might want to scooch on out.
I've seen multiple people complain that Bobby didn't come out in this episode. Once again, I reiterate that realizing your sexuality and coming out to your loved ones, that's a huge process, that's a huge undertaking, and it takes time. And I love the way this show is handling that plot. And he did come out in this episode. He came out to himself, and that is just as important. In fact, it's even more important than coming out to your loved ones, I'd say. And I love that when he looked in the mirror, he didn't even say the word gay. That scene was wonderful. He just looked in the mirror and he was like, maybe I'm, and then you saw a look of confusion and then just a slight smile, and it was perfect. Honestly, that scene made me kind of emotional. Can we quick talk about how wonderful this show did with queer representation? The creators realized that gay people aren't just 1 in a million. We had Camila and Danielle, and then that one coworker in the office, and we had the gay hairdresser, and then of course Bobby. And then Elena casually mentioned that one of their students has 2 dads. And then we have a trans actress that plays Gabby's boss. I absolutely love how casually this show took its queer representation and how it showed multiple supportive, that's an important keyword. It showed multiple supportive gay relationships. It was wonderful. You know what else was wonderful and emotional? Every scene with Gabby, I've said this a few times now, but I think I've said pretty much everything a few times now. Selena Sleva is a fantastic actress. Her slight crying and her confusion. It's all believable. It's super believable and honestly makes me emotional when I watch it. Her realizing that she can love Sam and Robert at the same time was wonderful. And Selena Slava executed it so well. She is such a good actress, and especially in this episode, she's given it her all. In fact, I think the entire cast gave it their all. It's the best I've seen this entire cast throughout the entire show. All of their performances were top notch. So just good job, y'all. Good job, cast members. On top of all the important big stuff, we have small stuff that means just as much. And those are these tiny setups and payoffs that just put the cherry on top of an already great show. We heard about Esteban multiple times, and we heard that he was selling an EP. We didn't have to meet him, we didn't have to hear him sing, but that came into play here. We got to hear him sing, and his singing helped advance Gabby's story. Sure, we didn't need this payoff, but it was a good payoff nonetheless. The racing plot didn't need to be brought back, but I'm so glad it was. And then we have Elena's vocab cell plot, which has kind of been reiterated throughout this show. She's gotten to the Z's, which means we've gotten to the end, which means she's gotten to the end of the year. It's a great little payoff that doesn't need to happen but did, and I think makes this show even better than it already is. This honestly is the first 10 out of 10 episode in this show for me. Yes, I loved episodes 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9, but this is the first 10 out of 10 one. I've had some 9.5s, but this was the first 10 out of 10. Everything was perfect about this episode. Absolutely perfect. It tackled the topic of fighting against injustice and working for inclusion and talking about how complicated that can be whilst making it seem so dang simple and so easy to watch. It talked about moving on and accepting the death of your freaking loved ones. Talking about self-acceptance. It's all so wonderful. This episode was truly just perfection. The show was peaked, y'all. On top of all that I've mentioned, this show was a perfect finale. It checked all the boxes, giving emotional satisfaction whilst opening the door wide for a fantastic future. I'm so curious as to what everyone could bring us in further seasons. And that's why I beg of you, Disney. I beg of you. Please renew this show. I'll be campaigning for a renewal because I not only want it to happen, but I think it should happen. This show exemplified some wonderful storytelling, and I honestly think that could only get better with further seasons. Please, Disney, renew Diary of a Future President. I just want to say a sincere thank you to all the cast members and creators. There are thousands of people that worked on this show. Thank you. Thank you so much. We may not get a season 2, but it was a good run. Thank you for blessing this little period of my life. It was really, really awesome. Anyways.
Did y'all hear that?
Anyways, those are my thoughts on episode 10, the finale of Diary of a Future President. I know I got a little more deep and emotional in this one, but this episode was truly meaningful, and I loved it so much. Please give me your thoughts on the finale in the comment section below. I would love to read them, and I will reply to them, I promise. Thank you so much for watching. It would mean a ton if you could like this video and maybe even subscribe, you know? Maybe, you never know. I'm not forcing you into anything, but like, do it or I'll shoot you! That was a joke. I don't condone gun violence. Wow, my last video ended with me condoning crime, and now I'm joking about gun violence. Honestly, this channel is evolving. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and can't wait to see what the future holds. Also, Disney, please renew this. If you cancel this show, I will personally come up to Bob Chapek and have a nice deep chat with him. Because we do not condone violence here. But I will also personally prolapse his butthole.
Bye!